I can't get a good place for my camera.
Okay, we are live now officially. The red light is on, and I am joined here. I am so excited. I am so honored. I am joined here by two women who are living the courageous life. And it is Rachel and Betsy. If you guys can both give a wave.
Where's the camera?
Hello, hello.
So we're here to talk about your journeys, where you've been, what's brought you here, and where you are now. So I just want to open some space for both of you to first just introduce yourselves and give a little context of what you do, just share as much as you're comfortable with, and give them a chance to, just get a sense of what you're all about. So I'll start with Rachel, since she's the first panel on my screen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Renaud. I'm originally from Montreal, and I live in Kelowna, British Columbia. I've been here for 6 years, did the bold move with my son and my husband. I am a coach, consultant, and connector in the not-for-profit world in philanthropy. So I really enjoy that, and looking to do more things and to help the world be a better place. I fell upon Lauren by fluke on Instagram, and I'm not a big Instagram person or Facebook person. And I decided to do her one-on-one to just kind of connect with her and everything. And then I signed up for the 7x7, which I was really scared about doing. And but I did it, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. And Betsy, fellow West Coaster as well.
Yep. Hi, everybody. I'm Betsy Benning. I'm not used to this little narrow screen. So I came across Lauren through, I think it was Women of Dartmouth. You did a show, or not a show, but you did a session through that. So I was at a point where I graduated from business school. I actually went to business school at Dartmouth, so that's why I was on that mailing list. But I've had a career in the biotech and pharmaceutical industry. And in the background for the past 15 years or so, I've had a very terrible relationship with my ex-husband. So it's been incredibly challenging. I've definitely been in survival mode. Then my job, most recently, kind of like the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I just was feeling really beaten down, unappreciated, worked to the bone. So a couple of things happened with my kids. I have two daughters who are 18 and 21. And then you layer in COVID on top of that. And I just was at a place where I just things needed to change. So I had actually taken a leave of absence, and then I came across Lauren. And it just seemed like a really good opportunity to focus on me and move from survival mode to thrive mode and connect with other people in a real way. So that's kind of my background.
Yeah. And I just want to thank both of you, like up front, and being vulnerable to be here to share. This is not easy. It's so easy for the person sitting and watching to be like, oh, just watching these people. But when you're the person that's going out there and talking about yourself and your journey, it's not always an easy thing to do. And I've had a front row seat at both of these women's journey. And I can't say how proud I am, how honored I am to see them each day putting in the effort, the time, the energy to honor themselves, and really shed layers of, well, we'll talk about it, but some of these masks that we wear as women. And I think it's such important work that that they're doing by just even being here and talking about this stuff, because as we shed light on it, and as you ladies, Rachel and Betsy, as both of you talk about this, you don't even know what you could be opening up for another person who is sitting there questioning, feeling where you felt when we first connected, and doubting themselves and not believing that change is really possible for them. So I would love for both of you, or for all of us actually, just to take a moment and just center ourselves and go back to maybe that place that you were when we first connected. Probably it was like last June, July, August. And just bring yourself there for a moment so that as you talk about what it was that prompted you to be here, to say yes to yourself and be on this journey, what was that? Like, where were you? Talk about some of the struggles, the challenges that were really like clouding your vision. Rachel, I'll let you kick it off, this one.
I guess I was feeling lost, and I was not able to give myself the kick in the ass that I needed to be able to move forward. I would call it perhaps now looking back delusional, in a sense of kind of being stuck between two worlds and trying to do it all, and not really understanding who I am and what my purpose is and where I'm going and why I do certain things and so forth. Learned a lot in this course about sabotaging, how that is. So, it's quite incredible, the pressure that women put on themselves and how we think we really can do it all, and that we have to be the saviors and the heroes and manage all the different pieces. I have a teenager who's 16. It's a very challenging time. I think if most parents knew what teenage years look like, you may not think about having kids or having as many kids. I only have one. I'm very blessed. I always wanted to have 4 children, and Lauren has 4 kids, and I don't know how she does it. But anyways,
you can call us Lauren when your kids are older.
Yeah, exactly. So, or call on us in 10 years when you're there. So the combination of that and just getting lost in the stages of life and everything. And I think that when you go through the teenage years, the career, the husband, the life, taking care of your house, like all these responsibilities, everything gets so compacted that you forget about yourself, and you actually lose that, what we call the wild spirit, the wild warrior. Yeah. And it's really important to stay connected to the wild and the wise, because if you don't, then you're not living your true essence. And this journey is really about being true to yourself and being honest. And I won't lie, it's hard work, but it's worth it. Yeah. And I'm not even at the end of the journey, but I see a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the fogginess, the being delusional, being very, like, it's okay to be unsure. Like, I'm comfortable with that now. It's okay to be uncomfortable, and it's okay to fear things. But now I have tools to be able to push through the fear and move forward.
Yeah, I always say this is really about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable.
That's right.
If we're trying to always avoid discomfort, we're not really living in truth, because life is going to continue to post challenges. And I know we talk a lot about this a lot in 7 by 7, where it's like learning to find ways to intentionally put ourselves by choice in a situation through these experiments, which then strengthen the muscles so that when life presents something we don't want by choice, we're like, mentally, we've trained ourselves to say, I've been here before. I know what I'm doing. So Betsy, bring yourself back. Let the warrior within you look at the woman in August when we connected, and tell me a little bit about where she was and what she was going through.
Yeah, so I kind of touched on it a little bit, and I'm actually thinking right now, I kind of binged the 6th season of Queer Eye recently, and it really struck me because I feel like in some cases I was watching myself when they would go in and meet these people. This one woman was running a shelter for animals, basically, and children with special needs. And she was literally just on the verge of tears from them. Like, anytime they would say anything to her, you could tell she was just at the breaking point. And that's how I felt. And Lauren knows, the first time I talked to you, I think I was crying, sitting in a
booth. Betsy's like traveling for work.
No, I was dropping my oldest daughter off at college. Yeah, so I was in a booth at a WeWork in Cambridge, Massachusetts, crying on the phone to Lauren. I mean, I just had nothing left in the tank, and I've kind of run on that for a long time, for a number of years. And it just wasn't working, and I was also feeling unappreciated in every aspect of my life. Um, which I need to feel appreciated. I actually had a little breakthrough this morning when I was out walking. I thought, I need to appreciate myself. Like, forget it. I can't rely on external people to appreciate me. I need to appreciate me. So that was a little, I've just had more and more little insights like that and little aha moments that wouldn't have come to me 6 months ago, like 6 years ago. I mean, I just never really had the ability to kind of step back and reflect and look at myself and see things more objectively. I also beat myself up. In fact, I think I talked to you about this the first time we talked, Lauren. I had a career that was moving along on an upward trajectory, and then my husband left, and it's just been really, really hard. And so my career didn't go the way I thought it would go. And so that was always a struggle for me. I felt like I just wasn't where my peers are. And I really beat myself up about that. And I just couldn't get past it. I mean, I just felt like crap about it. And literally, again, just a couple of weeks ago, I just had this moment where I was like, forget it. That's the past. I have a lot of great things to offer people. I don't need to be ashamed of that or feel bad about it or apologize for it. I'm just going to move forward. So it's been these little sequential shifts that have happened that I don't think would have happened before.
Yeah. And then there was another one that you even had shared when we were talking about forgiveness. I think you put it in your self-reflection, but the forgiveness of, do you know what I'm talking about? Or
no, I don't remember.
Oh, you don't? Okay. So we were talking about forgiveness and self-compassion, and you're like, you know what? I realized it's not about me having to forgive my ex for all the things. It's really about forgiving myself and how this has been part of my journey and where I'm at today.
Yeah, I've been really hard on myself. I mean, I've always been hard on myself, but
women are hard on themselves.
Yeah. Well, no, I think I'm harder on myself than most. I did a 360 review at work, and the HR lady, this was a few years ago, the HR woman said, your findings are really interesting. And I was, okay. I've never seen a person who marks themselves lower on every attribute than their peers or their, other people who took it. I'm like, all right, well, that's not surprising. So this has been important for me to not just beat myself up all the time. And yeah, when we did that forgiveness conversation, I remember thinking, I can't forgive him. Like, I'm not going to allow that behavior to be acceptable. He's basically a malignant narcissist. But I said, I need to forgive myself for being, kind of traumatized. Like, it's okay. That's kind of normal given the circumstances. And I just shouldn't be, I don't like to say shouldn't, but I need to stop beating myself up for struggling with that.
Yeah. Like, accepting.
Yeah.
Acceptance. And who here would ever guess Betsy actually, she does for her physical activity. We talk a lot about body movement. Betsy, what do you listen to and what do you do?
Well, I did this boxing boot camp and I loved it. It was fantastic. And I really felt so powerful, and it was mentally challenging, and it was a great group. It was actually, I think there were like 7 or 8 women about my age. And then this one guy, his name is Rowdy. He's a total sweetheart. So Rowdy ended up being my partner, and we're still really good friends. So that was a fantastic experience. I'm still trying to keep up with that. I even entertained possibly doing some kind of competition. And my favorite musician right now is Lil Nas X. So I like his song, That's What I Freaking Want. He doesn't say freaking.
It's just, I had to share that because you look at Betsy and this is not what you're going to first expect. And I just love that, every single of the women here, it's fascinating how, there's what we have on the outside and what we present, and then the layers and the nuances and the beauty and the passion that all of us hold. And when we let that start shining bright, we start freeing ourselves of this box persona, what we think we should be and are expected of us.
Yeah. Well, I was going to add to that, Lauren, because I was thinking about that as Betsy was speaking, is that, even you, like people can look at you on Facebook or social media and they think you have a perfect life, right? Like you look fantastic and everything. And how many times does everybody look at other people's Facebook pages and they actually get depressed because they feel like they're not enough, right? And the reality is that's untrue. Nobody has a perfect life. Perfection doesn't even exist. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, we can only get better and be self-aware and everything. And it's about, I think a lot about the 7x7 is about habits and conditioning that has been brought upon us. And it's about just becoming aware of what those habits and those conditionings are with the different actors and players in our life, family or friends or work and so forth. And just being able to understand it better, but then also putting our own boundaries around what is acceptable or not acceptable to us based on our core values. And we each have different core values. And that's really what guides you. And that's the fundamental pieces that everybody often doesn't take a time out to maybe do a proper check-in. So I think that's really important. And one of the biggest things for me that I was worried about in this 7x7 was about the sharing, being part of a group of women. Lauren and I had to go through this a couple of times because I wasn't sure I could do it. And really because it's about committing. So I have to commit to these women and I have to commit to Lauren. Lauren keeps us accountable. My soul sisters keep me accountable and so forth. So it's I was really worried about that piece, but it's also helped me to grow and to move forward because all my fears and the things that my brain make me do when I end up doing the exercises or exchanging with everybody, I'm like, wow, that actually energized me, or I learned something, or I just feel better about it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing light to that. I think that's because what you just said, I hear so often as a common theme to women who are, again, considering doing something like 7x7, working with me, but they're scared. First of all, they're like, oh no, that whole women thing, like, I don't need to be comparing myself more. I don't need to be competing more. And I'm like, it's different. It's like you're finally with people that are not, we don't talk about the surface stuff. Like, talk about that a little bit more, Rachel. Like, what has it been like in terms of a safe space and opening up, and how we stay connected. We're all in our busy lives, but how do we still find space to support and connect with one another?
Well, I think the first thing is you're allowed to give yourself permission to take care of yourself every single day for at least 10, 15 minutes. So, and the 7x7 has a ritual that to try and build up those habits and everything. And really taking that space every day to do that, you start to build the momentum and everything. So then once you start to get more connected with yourself, it's like what Betsy was saying before, you really got to start by loving yourself. Like if you're looking for outside people or situations to fill your bucket, then you're not really being true to yourself. So once you start to go through this process, the momentum starts to build. And then, even a story that Betsy just showed before, it made me think about, one of her soul sisters shared something with us yesterday, which was pretty powerful. And probably that resonated subconsciously with Betsy. And it's made her feel better about like where she's at and what journey she's on. Right. And so I think that, it starts with you. And the more you get comfortable with yourself and understand that it's okay to be fearful, we do wear masks. We do have a saboteur right over here, and we have the warrior over here. And you got to work to make everything work in tandem together. But the middle, yourself, you are the core. And we're in control of our own core. Nobody has permission to control that unless you give it to them.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll speak to the group aspect, Lauren, because that's been a tremendous benefit to me. Because I always sort of feel like I'm walking, like you say, like you look at other people, and even though somebody told me a long time ago, you don't know what their problems are, you don't know what's going on behind them, you just see people walking down the street. But it's been incredibly helpful to, like, I think our first session, Lauren said we had to talk for 2 or 3 minutes about ourselves, and I had to go first, and I was just like, like I couldn't talk about myself. It was awful. It was literally probably one of the worst 2 or 3 minutes of my life. But it was so awful because I was thinking I was the only one who had this mess, going on. And then as we went around the room, so to speak, I hear other people's stories, and we all have some unique challenge that we're facing. And it was just so great. I was like, I can relate to that. I can relate to that person. And I just love having a safe place, like you say, where you can just be real. Like people have shared all kinds of stuff. There's no chit chat, small talk. And I don't get enough of like true, real conversations in my life. So that's something I tremendously value.
No BS.
Mm.
It's raw.
It's raw. I say that. I'm like,
Very
some of
raw.
us more raw than others. Like I wasn't afraid to share, Rachel, so you should have been happy. I just was like, bleh. Hopefully that made you feel more comfortable.
It is helpful though. It is helpful when someone does set the tone and goes there, because then it truly, the more we do that though, even being here live, talking about this stuff, bringing light to it, it gives permission that it's okay and that you're not alone, because we are going through our lives feeling so alone. But then, we all have stuff we need to do, right? Like Rachel and Betsy they are leaders in their worlds. They do a lot. And probably even Betsy right now is like, I'm not a leader. Betsy is a leader. Own it. And
no, I am a leader, Lauren.
These are like badass women. And it always shocks me. This is the thing that always gets me, is how when you bring in accomplished, successful women who are out there doing it all, and then they find a safe space where they can connect and talk about this, it's like, it's the oxygen to then give you more fuel to go out there and continue doing the amazing work you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But so often we are just either burying the pain or, faking it to look good on the outside. And whether or not we're consciously realizing it, it is manifesting in our bodies through pain and through eventually one day, it can lead to full on breakdown, panic attacks, deep depression. And all of a sudden, oh no, how do I get out of this mess now?
Yeah. Anxiety is a huge thing for people.
And what are some tools, like, Rachel, you've reached out to me a few times in those moments and brought light to it. And what happens after you've said it out loud? Like, share, so people who push that away.
Yeah, so I've called Lauren a few times. I've on Voxer actually, or I videoed myself absolutely bawling, like barely, like if she could even understand me, I don't know. But just moments of complete breakdown, just feeling like my whole world is falling apart and everything. And and sometimes she wasn't able to listen to it right away or whatever, but it didn't matter. But when I got out there, it's like I said it. Also, the other thing is I could replay it, which a couple of times I replayed it to kind of see like how bad it was and what was I saying. And, was I just being like an emotional wreck that day or whatever. So it's helped me to understand what this journey looks like. And what it is I call it it's just everything that's embedded inside of me, like what you were just talking about, the emotions or the pain or whatever, it's just all coming out. It's slowly all coming out. Like it's just releasing all of those things to verbalize it. Like Betsy was saying in our group, we say things that we would never tell anybody else, but it's a safe space. So, and just like when you say it, it's like, okay, I said it now. And now how do I feel? Yeah. And then we've learned about forgiveness and we've learned about, we have all these tools to help us to say, okay, do I need to forgive somebody in this? Am I being too hard on myself? Am I being unrealistic about this? And so forth. So, and then Lauren's always there to coach us. So, I'll set up a coaching session with her. And if we need to go deeper on those pieces, then we do. And if we don't, then we move on.
Yeah, I think a huge piece is the lie that a lot of us tell ourselves, if we give energy to it or we say it out loud, we've now put it out there and it's going to happen. And it's a paradox because the opposite is true. Because when we keep it inside us, we're holding it. But when we release it and we purge it, it's like, it's not with us anymore. It doesn't define us. It's not part of our identity. It's moved on. It's released. And then you create space for what you want in there. Betsy, I know you've got to run in a couple minutes. So
Yep.
I'd just love to hear just a little bit more about like Warrior Women, where you're at now. Like, what have you really seen? You've touched on it a bit, but what do you see as possible now with having some of these tools?
I get emotional even talking about what's going forward. I'm a crier. So I was actually talking to someone yesterday about, I feel better now, to be honest, than I felt in years, like decades. I just feel like with my job, for example, before I was thinking, oh my God, I got to get out of this job. I need to get out of here. And I still want to leave my current job, my current role. But now it's more, I want to move toward my big dream. I also have the guy who runs my gym. You guys have heard about him, but he's very much like a coach motivator kind of guy. And he talks about having God-sized dreams. And one thing that had happened as a result of the divorce, like all these dreams you have when you're a kid, like I'm going to get married and have kids and we'll have a nice home and have all these traditions, like all of that went out the window. And I never replaced it with dreams of my own. So now I'm actually contemplating dreaming and, having a God-sized dream, as he calls it. Like I haven't had anything like that. So I have a God-sized dream that I don't want to share because I'm not ready to share it with strangers. But now I think about my job and I think I'm going to move toward that rather than running away from what I'm doing now. I have goals. I've never been good at setting goals and planning, and I actually wrote down goals for the year. And one of them, I was telling my therapist yesterday, actually, one of my goals for this year is to make memories, because my mom turns 90, I turn 60, my daughter graduates from college, and I've never been good at planning ahead for these things. I'm always at the last minute, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, that's just another example of something I just wouldn't have really thought about before. And it's just made me realize so many things are important and, need to move forward.
Absolutely. Any final words, Betsy, just for any women that are like sitting on the threshold and saying, oh my gosh, is this for me? Should I do it? Is it worth it? It's an investment. It's a financial investment. It's a time investment. It's all those things.
I have no regrets. I would say if you're on the fence, it's like standing on the edge of the pool. You want to go swimming, but the water's cold. Jump in. Like, I have no regrets at all.
You're worth it.
Yeah. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I've gotten so much out of it that if you went to see a therapist this much, it would cost more and it probably wouldn't be as enriching. So yeah. I say go for it.
We're all going to each other's 80th birthdays. We've decided. Remember that?
Yeah.
We're planning our 80th parties. All right.
I won't be going to some of your 80th birthdays, but
you never know. Technology and everything.
All right. Well, goodbye, you guys. It was fun talking.
Have a great day, Betsy.
Wonderful
Thanks.
day. We'll talk.
Bye.
Bye. All right. And then there were two.
Yeah. So I would, just to build on that, Lauren, I would echo what Betsy said. And I think, often when you talk about the finances, like people get a little bit like, oh my God, but I'm practical in that way. I actually did, when you explained to me the fees and everything, I did a breakdown of what that looked like over 6 months. And basically it's like the equivalent of $100 a week $150 a week. Like it's now, I do coaching, so coaches charge anywhere from $80 to $350. And the thing is, if you go see a therapist, it's usually $150 and so forth. But this program is really about you. It's really about going to the core of you. You can be in the group with 9 other women and Lauren and that. But the thing is we each have our own journey. We each have our own story. We each have our own patterns, our habits, our conditioning, and so forth. So it's just about, I call it unpacking the onion, like pulling the onion apart, those layers of hurt and pain and habits, consequences, limitations, fear, all these different masks that we wear, whether we're sad or upset or angry or pissed off because of our divorce or this or that or our children. It's just about getting rooted. Once you better understand who you are, what your values are, what your boundaries look like with the different people in your life, and that then you can start to really pave a way, a life that is a lot more peaceful, that is just fluid, and you're not as scared. Like things can come at you. And if you think about when you were a teenager or a kid, like, were you ever really scared? No, you just did things. You did crazy things. You did, whether you partied or whether you were running or swimming or biking or going off cliffs or whatever, you would just do it. So it's about finding that balance of your maturity, but then also your inner child, and bringing those two pieces together to give you the life that you want and that you deserve. So my big pitch to people is, you're worth it. And you know
Only
what?
You can give yourself that permission though, right, Rachel?
That's right.
That's the piece. Like, you have the key. Stop looking for this person to say it's okay. Stop asking, should I do this? Would it be good for me? Like, only you know, and you have it. And it starts right here.
That's right. That's right.
We're prisoners to our own thoughts, to our own conditions, to our own choices until we decide to break out of our own cell.
That's right. And, there is work involved.
Yeah.
But the work is worth it. It's just like working out, right? It's like if you're going to sign up to the diet program, but you just sign up and pay for it, but you don't do anything, well, you're not going to get anything. So, but this work is worth it, because the peace that you will start to find and the life that you will start to carve out. And I'm like Betsy too. I have my new dreams that I've put on the back burner for over 10 years, and I've resurfaced them, and those are some of the things I'm working on now. And I'm going to go big and bold now.
Yeah. And you touched on this a bit, Rachel, but I think like when we were younger, we're like the maiden, we're ready. We take risks. We do things that we wouldn't normally do. We find our edges, and then we move into this like mother role. And that's from like, anywhere from like 25 to 50. And it's just where we're overgiving, we're caretaking, we're serving everyone, we're holding all these worlds together. And in the modern day woman, we're not just caring at the home, we're working in the real world, we're doing all this. And then the shift happens where it's like, this is my time. Like, I'm a queen. I'm going to own this, and I'm going to be all of myself and allow to say, I'm worth it.
That's right. And most women know, it's not always like this, but most women know that if you are good, the family is good.
We say it, but do we practice it? That's the That's the gap. And it drives me nuts when I hear the expression, don't do as I do, do as I say.
That's right.
It's like your kids are if you are a mom, you are modeling a behavior that they're seeing more than what they're hearing with your words.
Yeah. And don't fool yourself. Your kids are your biggest teachers. And the younger they are, the more they know the truth about you.
Right.
So don't like that. That's not a fallacy. Like, that is actually true. So children feel things much stronger than yourself. They can actually see through you. So if you're pretending or hurting or putting your emotions down, deep down, and pretending they're not there, your kids are living that.
and they're living. And then what do? Right? The pattern continues. Then they the conditioning, then they put on a mask because they've got to either be the strong one, this one. Then they start to learn their habits to work because you haven't healed your own stuff.
That's right. And through this, combined with some therapy that I've done and everything in the last year, has been an incredible, incredible growth experience of just breaking patterns from my own childhood, from just everything. And my son has been a great teacher to me. And I feel very blessed about that.
I always tell people, like, sometimes nothing has to change. Like, Rachel, in your situation, nothing like has actually changed, but a lot has changed because you've changed. And as you change, what happens, right?
Yeah. And also being vulnerable is a really hard thing to do. And I think a lot of people actually don't even understand what that means. So, and it's okay to be vulnerable with your children. Actually, it's really good because then it shows them, they often feel this pressure that, you're perfect. They're looking up to you and you can get everything done and everything. And especially as a teenager, like they're messy, they're all over the place. They're like not all pulled together properly. And they have so much pressure with social media and COVID and anxiety and everything. And just being able to show my son that, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say that, I don't fully get this and that. And it just all comes together in the next few years. And you just got to be patient.
I love that you're saying that because I do think that it opens, when we are vulnerable and trust that it's okay to talk about this stuff with our children, it does open the door. But if we always are just saying, as I'm the parent, you're the child, and like, you've got your stuff that you need to speak to me, they still don't see that you're being a human yourself.
That's right. That's right. And, the most important thing for a human that I've learned is being seen and heard. And this is often the breakdown in relationships, in marriages, is because one or both are feeling not seen or heard. You're not on the same page and so forth. And it's exact same thing with your children. Mm-hmm. Actually, when they're teenagers, you really need to see them and hear them. And it's not about telling them what to do or how to do it. It's really creating that safe space of support and everything. So I've had the opportunity with my tools from 7x7 to practice these pieces with my son. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you it's been a game changer.
Yeah. It's so true. No one wants to be, whatever age you're at. Think of a 2-year-old. They don't want to be told that they've got to put on their shoes. Think about a teenager. They don't want to be told that they've got to, go to practice or whatever it is. We want it as human beings, we want to be doing this stuff by choice, but we want people to accept us. And that's, I think, what you're saying, Rachel, right? Is the seen and heard. And so often we're coming in with our own baggage and already, yeah, I hear you. But let me tell you now from it's like, no. And we don't have to fix anything even.
And how do you learn? By consequences, negative or positive.
Right.
Yep. Right. So you learn reward by it, and you learn that something didn't work out, or you got sick, or, whatever. You don't want to wear your hat. You don't want to wear your jacket. You don't want to wear your boots. Fine.
No, exactly.
You know what? You're going to get sick.
And then that is how we learn. And that is about life. Like, I've always been that kid, and to my parents' credit, have been really pretty good about that. It's like, you know what, Lauren, it's your life. Like, my parents were very much, remember my dad saying to me, you don't want to get your good grades. You want to end up going to this other school. Not my life. I'm going to give you opportunities. I'm going to give you chances, but you ultimately have to make these choices for yourself. Yeah. And I actually remember thinking, I really liked that. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this for you. I got to do this for me. Because
and life is about choices. So whoever's listening on this podcast now or webinar is that it's your choice to decide to do 7x7 or not. I think you're worth the investment. And I think all women at some time in their life, you go through these questioning periods and everything. And I think every woman in the world is worth taking the time and making the investment. And like I said, if you break it up over 6 months, it's not that much money. And Lauren gives a lot of information, a lot of tools, physical tools, mental tools, emotional tools, like everything where, I have a binder and everything. And I
Is your
know that,
binder right there? Because I was talking about this today. Can you hold it up?
yeah, my binder is right here.
Yeah. There it is in the flesh. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And come home to your heart, because that's where it starts.
well, I'm really proud, like of you, Rachel, for the moment. I can still remember where I was when we first talked. It was the summertime. I was in Rhode Island. We did that visualization. You had the blue, right? It was the indigo.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, gosh, I really hope this woman sees what I'm feeling in my heart and where she needs to go. I hope she can get past any sort of her own blocks, her own saboteurs, her own self-sabotaging, limiting beliefs that are questioning her right now. Because you were in that, like, let me think, let me give it some space. And at the end of the day, it's the choice that you have to, as a woman, have to make for yourself. Am I worth it? And I do believe that by saying yes to yourself and saying I'm worth it, you're now gaining momentum.
Yeah.
That makes other shifts happen.
I jumped in the pool.
You jumped in fully, and with other 9 other women who isn't it? We also talk about when you have those vulnerable moments is what a gift it is as the person who's witnessing this woman being in her truth, right? Like honoring her.
Yeah. And that just made me think of during this program, so we've done 4 months pretty much, right? And we still have a little bit under 2 months to go. But you actually feel mental, emotional, and physical shifts. Like they actually happen. Like you actually wake up one morning or you go to do something and you can feel the shift that it happened, like something happened.
Yeah.
And once that happens, that means that you're progressing, right?
And this is a spiral. I say, don't think of it as linear. It's a one and done. You're learning tools. So again, you can continue to unpeel your onion. That's the beauty of life. That's the fun. That's the experimenting. And Rachel, we are just, so where they are in their journey, we're just coming into like really intuition and trusting their warrior within and growing this. And the next 2 months, I mean, I'll do another one of these with you and Betsy in 2 months and a couple of the others to talk about where you are even now, because we are just tapping into your posse. Like we all have this inner posse or this board, think of it as your board of directors that you get to bring with you in every situation.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to see in the next 2 months where things are and celebrate you again.
A little scary, but it's okay.
All right. Well, Rachel, my love to you for being here, for doing this for other women, on, putting your own self aside to say and to hopefully inspire some other women to step in to who they are and trust themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Trust yourself, ladies. Take care.
Rachel, what's your motto? Say it out loud for everyone.
Trust yourself.
No, yesterday on Wednesday.
Oh, your Primal Roar.
Well, you've got your card, Primal Roar. Just do it, lady.
Oh yeah, just do it. That's my new thing. Just do it.
There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you again. Have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. Hope to talk to some of you who want to step forward. Let's make it happen. The next journey kicks off January 23rd. I have 1 spot left. Is it yours? I don't know. But if you think it might be, and this is speaking to you, then let's jump on a call today or early next week and close that out.
Don't be scared, ladies. It's a fun journey.
Yes, it is. We have fun.
You're worth it.
We don't just make it all the serious stuff. We have fun.
And we cry, but it's okay.
We cry with smiles.
Yeah.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.